Howdy, folks. Good morning. You got a good one for y'all today. I am super excited about the changes that we've made this month, as well as our app showcase, which is also going to be an interesting one as well. As per usual, I'm going to go ahead and give everyone a couple of minutes to pile in here, and then we will get started right around a minute from now. All right, folks. So we're going to go ahead and get things started. Thank you all so much for joining me on the last Tuesday of a very short month. Appreciate it. We have a good one for y'all today. So in case this is your first ever catch up with Keeper webinar, basically the structure of these is we start by walking through all of the new features that we've shipped in Keeper over the last month. After we do that, we will walk through an app showcase if we have one. We do this month. And then lastly, we will open things up to Q&A. So also, in case this is your first ever catch up with Keeper webinar, please drop your Q&A in the Q&A section at the bottom of the screen here, rather than into chat. It has an easy tendency of getting lost in chat, and we'll make sure we answer all the questions in the Q&A section if they get dropped in there. All right, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I will walk through the latest changes. All right. So a couple of fun ones on the client list. The first is we now added chat on the client list. And I think a lot of people have pointed out client chat is confusing. We are going to be renaming this to team chat. So stay posted on that. But this is the internal chat capabilities within Keeper rather than the external communication with your client, which happens through the client portal. Well, and I think actually my screen just now loaded to share. So winding back the clock again, we added chat onto the client list right here. So you can now use this to communicate with your team or see what questions your team has asked you, all without diving into the close page. If you have been tagged in a comment, you're going to see that with a little red icon right here. And so if we click this open, you can see that because we were tagged in this example, we have this little red icon. That means that there's some action we need to take here. And then once we've taken the action, replied to it, or done whatever we need to do, we can mark this as archived, which is going to hide it from our list of things to do. If we also just want to filter this list for only the items that we have open, we can also click this Show Open Items option, and that's going to hide any other chats that are just informational or that are already resolved. And then lastly, just like any other column on the client list, this is filterable and sortable. So we can also just filter for only the open chats. And we can also save this as a new view. So we can save this as a view of the open chats that we need to respond to. And then once we mark this as archived, then when we refresh the page, this view will no longer contain this client because there's no more open chats. All right, one other thing we just added here is the ability to add non-closing tasks straight from the client list. And so what that means here is if we have a new non-closing task, say we want to send a price increase notice to example client, we can just create that right from here. We don't need to go into the client list to do that anymore. All right, undo this filter. we're going to dive into a close. And I'm excited to announce the probably the biggest feature of the month for some subset of y'all is we have now released Xero, generally available. So if you have any Xero clients, you can add them here into Keeper. And I don't have a ton to announce on this page in particular because the Xero experience works very similarly to the way that the QuickBooks experience does. So what that means is you're going to see almost all of the same reports. You're going to be able to do all of the same things that you can normally do in QuickBooks. You can edit transactions. You can ask your clients questions. You can chat. You can even edit things like tax codes as well, or tracking categories if you use those in Xero. So all of the normal things you're used to doing in QuickBooks, in QBO, in QuickBooks in Keeper, you can do the same in Xero. One, I guess, important piece to note about that is in order to write those transactions back to Xero, you do need to install Keeper's Chrome extension. The links to that are here in our Xero docs. So you can just go down to our Chrome extension right here. And then once you add this in, that is going to essentially connect Keeper to Xero a second time. And that second connection is important for being able to write those transaction edits. Okay, so that's it for Xero. But now that we're on the close page, a few smaller closing notes to talk about. One really small piece that actually I want to call out just because it's small is that you can now, we removed a click from the ability or from the way that you can switch between clients on the close page. So for those of you who don't know about this feature, if you click a client's name and let's say we want to switch to DemoCo, we can do that just by typing in DemoCo and switching over here. That's going to take us to the DemoCo close page. And this used to require 3 clicks. So you would click this, and you click this open, and then you would type in DemoCo. And so now we just removed one of those clicks just to make it that much easier and simpler to switch between clients and Keeper. This is a really important point because we want y'all to ask for these kinds of things. So if there's something you feel like is a little clunky in Keeper, or it would take us like 2 seconds and it would make your experience so much better in Keeper, or even just marginally better in Keeper, please do ask for those. So this was Abby Garcia's canny, and she posted about it. We read the canny every day. And I think there may have also been a Facebook post about this as well. But we track these kinds of things all the time. And it's just one of those things we like to do to continue to further refine and polish the Keeper experience. So in addition to that, probably one of the smaller items that will not go unnoticed is you can now have sticky headers on the P&L and balance sheet reviews on your financial statements in Keeper. As this is something that's been a long time in the works, but now you can finally see what month you're referring to as you're scrolling down the P&L. And lastly, another just small minor improvement here. This is a little bit edge casey, but if you have a client where you don't want to use Keeper's embedded email functionality, but you still want to use the vendor requests, you can actually now copy the link directly to the vendor request. And then you can paste that into your own separate email. So it's just a little bit easier. You just come up here, click the vendor request, click this little link icon. And we've always had this functionality, but we made it available here. So you don't have to go back to your vendor requests and then copy the link from right here. All right. And those are all the major updates for this month here in Keeper. So I'm going to go ahead and pause now, and we'll touch on Q&A very briefly, and then we will turn things over to the app showcase. Okay, just one question here, which is, I think, a question a lot of people have been asking recently. So definitely something that I hope to have a better answer for you all on shortly. But so this is from Brett, who's asking, I have a lot of clients where I do yearly catch-up bookkeeping for. Is there a way to deactivate a client instead of having to delete it? The answer to that question is currently no. We do understand that it's not a great answer, so we're working on a better one. But in order to remove the Keeper client from your billing, you do need to delete them in entirety. Otherwise, you will continue to get charged $8 or $10 a month, depending on your plan. All right, and that looks to be all the Q&A that we have today. So now I am going to stop my screen share and invite up Anelia and Danny. If I can find y'all in the participants list. All right. So this is going to be a very interesting app showcase because it's actually not a showcase of Keeper. So I'm super excited to welcome Anelia and Danny. So Anelia Grant runs an accounting firm that uses Keeper, and she also started her own startup called JustPaid to solve the problems that they had and still have with paying bills for their clients. So I'm super excited to hand things off to Anelia and Danny so that they can talk a little bit more about their product JustPaid that they just built. I think it'd be a really awesome way to hopefully introduce a cool new tool to the community here. And then also to show y'all that if you have problems and you feel like Keeper has not solved them and you need to write your own app for them, you can do that as well.
Thank you, Ben, and good morning, everybody. So my name is Anelia. I have an accounting company. I've been doing accounting for the last 12 years, accounting and bookkeeping for the last 12 years I think I worked with over 1,000 startups, technology startups in Silicon Valley. And my problem was first years ago when I started, how do I make money transfers to pay my clients' bills on their behalf? And a while back, we started having a bank account access and making payments directly from the bank account access. And I was like, wow, this is a lot of liability. A while later on, I started using Bill.com. And when they started, I joined. I love the product so much. I was like, this solves my problem. I can make business-to-business payments without exposing myself to much liability. I'll have more visibility on what my clients are paying. I can accrue expenses correctly. I know what they're paying for. I can categorize them correctly. However, the later stages of using Bill.com, I started experiencing certain things that I got so unhappy about. Few of them was lack of support. When I have any kind of issues, talking to Bill.com became impossible. You need to schedule a call. You need to find a little chat button that they're hiding on their website. And I was like, this is impossible. I have 200 clients at any given time. And if I have to schedule a phone call with Bill.com to resolve numerous sync issues, that was always happening. And they're coding those sync issues as well under some codes that I couldn't understand what they mean. It was just, adding so much more work for myself. So a while back, a few months ago, I decided I'm too tired of resolving Bill.com technical issues. I tried Melio payments and I was annoyed with how much they cost, taking 2.9% from all the payments we are making. And additionally, I couldn't delegate in Melio payments approval flow for the teams. I have to be in QuickBooks to make a payment. I don't want to load up QuickBooks all the time. I need to send one check, one payment. That was too annoying for me, taking too much of my billable time. I tried Routable. I tried so many other solutions, and I did not, as an accountant who doesn't have a computer science degree, the integration with those solutions was too complicated for me and for my team. So I'm on a quest to build a payment solution for accountants to easy to use, something that I can do with one click, something that's understandable, easy to use, and very quick to load up. So we started this JustPaid company, JustPaid.io. We are very early stage, so I'm really excited to present it for the first time to people in my field like I am and hear your feedback. So if anybody has any feedback, please send me an email. Would love to talk to you. Would love to talk to you as a potential user, hear what your frustrations are. As Ben, we are very eager to collect feedback to build a product that makes it easy for all of us to use. Then can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah, so what we are doing, so JustPaid is a payment validation solution. It's something that I always struggled as I would get a bill in the inbox of bill.com. I never knew if that bill was okay to pay. I had to assign an approver and hope that that approver will always check the contracts against the contract that the company signed against the bill that they received. To be honest, it never happens. As approver logs into bill.com, they just see a to-do item, they assume that I checked it. When I would make a payment on approved bill, somebody comes back to me later, a couple of weeks later, and saying that was the wrong amount. That was a mistake. We should get the money back. And I will have to start an email thread negotiating a refund, which was extremely annoying and very time consuming. And to be honest, very hard to bill back my clients for this time as well, because they would assume that it was my error. And if it's my error, I have to eat the cost. So I don't want anybody like me to lose any billable hours or waste time on resolving this. So what we are trying to do with our product is when a contract is signed between a CEO, my client CEO, and wherever the supplier they're using, we want JustPaid will get all of those contracts in the contract repository. And as soon as this contract is in our JustPaid system, we can extract the data using AI to make sure that we have the term of the contract, amount, who's responsible for it. So when the bill comes in, our system will automatically check if the amounts and dates are all correct. So this is kind of this is one piece that I really was missing, and I had to build an Excel spreadsheet to track for all my clients separately. And you can imagine this is time consuming because I have to email everybody on the team once a month. Have you gotten any contracts? Is there any expenses that we haven't paid yet for, we haven't received the bill for, but I need to accrue it on a monthly basis to make sure that we capture all the expenses on the P&L. Let's go to the next slide. Danny. Yeah, so essentially our platform integrates with QuickBooks. It gets all the data from your QuickBooks in terms of categorization, chart of accounts. It gets all your customer data, list of customers, list of vendors, any data that you already entered for all the vendors, such as address, W-9, tax ID, all of this information that we have there. And as soon as you get this information entered in Keeper, it will synchronize into QuickBooks, and it will synchronize into JustPaid as well. So there is always data updated instantly. What I also really like, we are pretty much replacing bill.com. And what I really like about our product is how every PDF of the bill that you see in bill.com or any other bill payment solution, if you pay a bill from JustPaid, JustPaid will send the PDF into the QuickBooks. So you never have to follow any links. You can open up the bill immediately from our data, from our platform, or instantly in QuickBooks, same PDF across. When the payments are issued through JustPaid, the data, what's happening on the back on our side, we connect to the bank account of your customer. A customer makes a payment to the vendor. We're just facilitating payment. We are not taking money on top of it like bill.com does, taking a lot of money there, charging on top of foreign exchange fees, pretty much between 3 to 5% the customer vendor is losing when they're getting paid through bill.com, especially if they're international. We also want to facilitate some kind of a communication with the customer, and what we are using, we're integrating Slack. So let's say if your customer is using Slack for their internal communication, they can install our bot that will talk to customers saying, hey, there is this bill we just received. we don't know how to categorize it, and the customer can enter the details, what account to categorize it to. We will capture this information, and when you're processing bills and you're closing books, you have a little bit more information from the customer directly. So hopefully it will save us all time in terms of like communicating with the customer and going back and forth. I'm really excited that we are living in this time where there is open AI, a lot of AI technology, machine learning, and we can really utilize it to do all the heavy lifting and manual data entry. Danny will do a little demo of the product. One thing I want to say, we are very, very early on. We've been only working on it for 2 months, so it may be a little bit buggy. Please forgive us. But any feedback, I would really appreciate it. I'd love that, because right now I'm feeling like I'm building it for myself and I'm excited for it, but I also want to build it for all people who do accounting and bookkeeping on day-to-day basis, who are struggling like me to have a good support, good technical support from like Bill.com or Melio or Routable or any other parties providers. So with this, I'm going to wrap up, send it to Danny, and Danny will show you what it looks like today. One thing to say, we are very quickly fixing all the bugs. We are pushing updates into production, and I'm very excited to see this product grow. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anali, and of course, Ben and everybody, thank you so much for carving time out. We understand it's the last day of the month for a lot of individuals. So we imagine everybody's a little bit busy. We'll keep this very brief today. Our goal is to just give you a little firsthand perspective on what it looks like to use JustPaid today. As Anali had described, there's a lot of destinations that we're going to be getting to. And for today, it's a little bit more so a peek under the hood. So if you wanted to potentially sign up, even just out of the gate, it is free out of the gate as well. So it's, no barrier to entry there. Very easy to sign up. You'd simply click sign up here, enter in your email, the preferred password that you have, and you'll just simply get a verification email regarding, of course, ensuring that it's secure. The next step is it's going to give you the opportunity to follow these steps here for, a bank account that you'd like to connect, setting up bill payments, a little bit about the company, and then connecting to QuickBooks. And lastly, if there's anybody else that you'd like to have invited to join you on JustPaid, you're able to do that. And once you've submitted all this or skipped it, it's going to take you into the dashboard. We simply want to show you what the bill process looks like when it comes to reviewing an invoice and paying that bill. So by clicking create bill, you're very easily able to upload an invoice that's received. Our goal, of course, as well as an inbox invoice-based process. When you click upload the PDF is going to be scanned with OCR technology and automatically populate everything for you. And from there, you can hit save, and you'll see that bill's come up. Now, when you click onto that bill, it's going to give you more details onto it once again, and you can submit it for approval. You simply hit submit approval. And then from there, with your bank account being scheduled or connected, you'll be able to schedule that payment. So pending approval, we would be able to review and approve. In this case, I don't have my bank account connected, but if I did, it would be scheduled and approved. We come back to the bill itself. We can go ahead and review it and schedule. So again, here you'll be able to see what that scheduled payment date would be. Again, if I click schedule here, then it would fulfill, but right now I don't have a bank account connected. But just to give you a little bit more of a visual on kind of what the workflow looks like, we wanted to give you an opportunity to see it here. Within JustPaid itself, if I come back to the dashboard, again, you can see that there's a lot that can be managed from here from a setting standpoint as well. So, Anali, was there anything else, at least for today, that you wanted to cover?
Yes, I forgot one feature that I'm super excited about. If you go to create bill and you upload the bill, we scan the information. What I really love, what I'm building for myself, is the general ledger posting date. I know it's many of us getting bills for very late in the month for previous periods, or we have a bill that needs to be amortized over a certain period of months. So what you can do here on if you can mouse over the general ledger posting start and end date on the fields here. So you can select if it is, for example, a bill from insurance company that needs to be amortized over 12 months period, you can select start date and end date. We'll book it to prepaid expense account. And what we will do at the end of the month, we'll prepare a report for you in Excel that you can always download from JustPaid. And you'll know how much to post amortization. It's going to be like waterfall amortization schedule, download it in Excel, attach it to your journal entry, and always have a backup documentation for the amortization schedule as is. And more bills you'll add, the amortization schedule will be constantly updated. So you can go back to see if there is any changes updated on your end in QuickBooks. This is actually very interesting. I'm kind of curious about your feedback. If it would be useful for users like us to either get it in Excel updated, or it would be useful to have a journal entry created and synchronized to QuickBooks. As soon as bill is approved, bill is synchronized to QuickBooks immediately. We don't need to wait for to run a bill.com sync. We don't need to run, not run to bill.com sync, not like in bill.com, we don't need to run a sync or wait for the sync to happen overnight. So it facilitates, in my opinion, faster month and close process. So this is accounts payable. The big vision, I want to build the same one for accounts receivable workflow. If customer signs an order or a sales contract, it just goes into one inbox. We extract the data. We will build invoicing features. We will build quite a lot to make sure that invoices are out. We're collecting revenue, so customers are happier and it takes a little less time. So it's very, very early on. Please, looking forward to hear any of your feedback.
Awesome. Well, Anelia and Danny, thank you both so much for presenting JustPaid for the group today. We do have one question, a couple of questions here, actually. One from Eddie. Does JustPaid work if you are in Puerto Rico?
If you have a US bank account, it will work. If you have I'm not sure how Puerto Rico and our vendor works to get on our backend. I can double check and I will check. If I can get your information later, I can probably follow up on this. Eddie, right?
Yeah, I'll send you Eddie's details on that.
Thank you.
And then second question is from Jill, which is she has some clients who are still sending paper checks. Does JustPaid support sending paper checks as a payment option?
Yes, it does. It supports paper checks. It supports digital checks. So it goes into someone's email. You don't even have to worry about USPS delivering those checks. This is a pretty cool feature because, you know, even United States government still accepts paper checks. So we have this functionality.
All right. Awesome. Well, great, folks. That's all we have for today. I don't see any new Q&A popping in on the chat. I assume people are scrambling to still get done with a short month here. But Anelia, thanks so much for joining us today, walking us through JustPaid. As always, these recordings are posted and live in our help center. So you can just search for the Catch Up with Keeper webinars if you want to find them. It'll also be on our YouTube channel later today. And we will see you all back here in about a month for the next Catch Up with Keeper webinar.
Great. Thank you, everybody.